Well, these are some juicy map bosses. What? It's pretty good. This is so much better. This is the way. This is the way. This is how you do it. Just yesterday on stream, I decided to check out essence farming, and it is pretty crazy right now. With the new Scarabs and everything, it is better than it's ever been by a lot. And as long as you have a pretty strong build, even if you don't, you can farm yellow maps. And this is a farm that I see myself doing a lot more in the future with how powerful the Scarabs are, how many drop, and particularly how easy bulk selling is these days with third-party tools. So without further ado, let's get to it. What are essences? Essences are a currency item that you get by killing essence-based monsters, essence monsters in your maps or whatever locations that you're fighting, and they are a crafting currency that you can use to craft your gear. This video is only about essence farming. If you want to know how to craft with essences, check out this video right here. It'll be linked below. But what they do have is a set of tiers. It's not about how to craft it, it's how to farm it. They have a set of tiers that you can upgrade 3 to 1 by selling to a vendor, just like so. Bada bing, bada boom. They have names that go from whispering all the way up until deafening. So it's about how loud it is the stronger the essence. How strong the essence is, how good it is how worthwhile it is, or how important it is for crafting. So we generally always care about the highest tier ones. If you have an essence tab, you can click upgrade right here and click just to upgrade like that, but you can settle a vendor if you need to do that. Whether you're an SSF and you need to craft things yourself, or you're in the trade economy and you want to farm your essences, this is how you do it. So right here, this is what an essence monster looks like. As you can see on the map, this is the essence icon. It's basically a bunch of blue spikes sticking up into the air, and you'll see what this essence monster is. It's basically a rare trapped monster that will have additional modifiers that makes it harder to fight. And when you kill it, it'll guaranteed drop these essences. To fight them, all you do is you click a couple of times, 1, 2, 3, and then he'll be broken out, and you'll see that when you mouse over him, he'll have the essence modifiers listed on him. And those essence modifiers, as you can see, are giving him additional buffs and additional things that make him harder to fight. So you'll see right here, Essence of Wrath right here. There's some certain very specific essence debuffs and all that you have to fight them. And then when you kill them, you will get these guaranteed essences that you pick up, and that's it. So the key with essences and what makes them so great for a beginner strategy is they don't really interact with pretty much any other modifiers or any other content in the game. So you can focus entirely on essences and then layer other strategies on top of them. So I really like essences as like a fundamental, this is my baseline, I'm farming essences and something else. One additional mechanic when it comes to farming essences is using the Remnant of Corruption. It's very similar to a Vol Orb in that there are 4 different outcomes. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. So the first one, which is arguably the worst one, but it's not that big of a deal, is that imprisoned monsters are instantly released. Nothing happens, but it does consume your remnant. So early league, if you have low remnants, that can be kind of annoying. Next one is all essence tiers go up by 1. That's a great outcome. Third one is it adds an additional essence type. So you get 1 more essence. That's nice to have. And then the best one is transform each essence to a random essence type of the same tier in the next group. So there are 4 special essences that get converted from changing one of the purple ones. I always say the purple ones, but it is Misery, Envy, Dread, and Scorn. People say Meds right here. I just remember it's the purple one, but maybe it's kind of difficult for you to remember that or you're colorblind. So Misery, Envy, Dread, and Scorn. These 4 will convert to Hysteria, Insanity, Horror, and Delirium. These ones are generally much more valuable. In some economies, they can even be worth 50 plus chaos, particularly early league. They will usually normalize around 15 to 20 chaos. All prices are subject to, league by league, but these ones are very valuable. However, later on when I talk about exactly how I recommend farming, we actually don't worry about this whatsoever. But as you can see right here, we have a Screaming Essence of Dread, and my goal normally would be to convert him, but unfortunately I cannot. So I used it right here, and we got a really interesting outcome. So we're going to talk about the Atlas tree. You see that we actually got 4 of the exact same essence. So let's go over the Atlas passive tree and what just happened. All right, regarding the Atlas passive tree, I'm only going to specifically highlight the essence nodes. Like I said earlier, the really nice thing about essences is they don't really interact with any other content, so you can layer it with other things. So we just want to focus on the essence stuff specifically. If you click on the essence in the middle right here, you'll see that they will highlight. There are 4 different essence clusters, and I recommend taking all of them, but not every single node. So starting off, Prolific Essence, this is just get +1 essence every single map. Really, really nice. The leading nodes right here say that imprisoned monsters have a chance to drop a rare item with an already crafted essence modifier. This can be really nice early league, but typically later on, generally don't really care about this. So I don't really recommend taking all 4 of these, but do go up to the Prolific Essence. Next up is Crystal Lattice right here. So the leading nodes have chance to have an additional essence. You get 15% right here, and then you get another 15%. So this will have chance to have 1 more right here for 15%, and then an additional 15% to have an additional 3. So that's how you get monsters like the one I just showed you that can have a lot of essences on them. But like I said, the more essences, the higher tier essences, the harder they are to fight. So be careful about that. Next up, Amplified Energies. The leading nodes here are additional essence, so these are nice to have. And then imprisoned monsters have at least 1 essence of the highest possible tier. And this leads to the next important information, is that essences in white maps can only go up to Screaming, but essences in yellow and red maps go up to Shrieking. So if you're trying to do an entry-level essence strategy, you can just farm yellow maps, and you don't have to do the really hard stuff. So even though essences are making the monsters harder to fight, you can just sit there and farm yellow maps and then bulk sell your essences. However, once you're layering additional strategies in, when you want tier 17 maps to drop, there's a lot of valuable things that you only get in red maps. So later on, you do prefer going to T16 maps. However, if you just want to do layered, simple strategies, you can just layer a bunch of yellow map farms together, including essences, and then a lot of the masters are also yellow map applicable as well. Next up is Crystal Resonance. So this is what I just showed you, where all of the essences turn to 1 type. So you'll see the second line here. Using Remnants of Corruption on imprisoned monsters replaces all essences with 1 of them on the imprisoned monster. So you can have 5 different ones, and then when you use the remnant, it'll turn to 1 of the random ones all across. So you'll get 5 of 1 of the ones that was already there. Now, if you do the math for the expected value there, you actually don't need to use the Remnant of Corruption. The expected value is going to average out. So using the remnant is actually a waste of time and effort. So all that means is you just don't use Remnants of Corruption. The other consequence of that second line is that Remnants of Corruption cannot turn into the really nice ones, Horror, Delirium, Insanity, Hysteria. You actually can't get those. However, I still recommend taking Crystal Resonance. At time of recording, this is still worth taking. Depending on the economy, maybe those special ones are really, really valuable if they're worth like 40, 50 chaos each. Could be worth doing a no Crystal Resonance farm. However, the benefit, if you have a very strong build, particularly of the first line here, is incredible, and you will on average make much more money by taking Crystal Resonance. What this does is every single time you kill a essence monster, the map boss will get an additional essence modifier from what was already on those monsters. So if you kill 10 or 15 essence monsters in the map, when you get to the map boss, you'll have 10 or 15 essences on the boss himself. And so on average, you'll get about 15 to 20% additional essences every single map, which will far outstrip the profit of going for these special essences, which you can't get with Crystal Resonance. However, like I said, entirely depending on the economy, just gauge whether you think it's worth it. In my testing, I got about 1 special essence every 3 or 4 maps, and that wasn't worth it to lose between 10 and 20 essences every single map from the map boss. If your build is on the weaker side, if those map bosses that are juiced up are too hard for you, even in yellow maps, you might want to consider a no Crystal Resonance farm, but you will be using a lot of Remnants of Corruption. Speaking of which, you'll notice that I took the left nodes right here that have additional essence. These right nodes are very specifically just to farm additional Remnants of Corruption. So each one is 10% chance to contain a remnant. So 1/5 of all essences that you find will already be corrupted. You actually can't use an additional remnant if it comes with a Remnant of Corruption. But when you kill that monster, you'll get a remnant, and that way you can farm additional ones. So these are nodes that you can turn on or off depending if you want some remnants, if you need them for your farm. However, typically they become very cheap very early on if you're in trade and you can just buy them yourself. All right, that's the entire Atlas tree. Now let's go over Scarabs. First up is just the guaranteed mechanic. Area contains 2 additional essences. These are very common early on if you're trying to do just some basic, day 2, day 3 essence farming. You'll probably just have a lot of these and you'll just spam them in your maps. However, most important, if you can get it, is the Essence Scarab of Ascent. Essences in the area are a tier higher. This with amplified energies right here will guarantee that you have the most highest tier essences in your encounters. So as soon as you can work the Essence Scarab of Ascent into your strategy, this is mandatory to use every single map. Next up is the Essence Scarab of Calcification. Rare monsters that are natural inhabitants are imprisoned by essences. So this is really the crux of what makes the Essence strategy so powerful right now. It takes every single rare monster that would naturally show up on the map and puts them in an essence. This guarantees if you have a high rolled map with a lot of rare monsters, with some other stuff that I'll show in a second, you can get a ton of essences on a single map. So as soon as you have your essence strategy up and rolling, the most important thing is using Ascent and Calcification no matter what. Now, there are 2 other scarabs right here that are pretty interesting that sometimes you would use and sometimes you don't. Essence Scarab of Stability. So this one, using a Remnant, can only result in upgrading or transforming essences. Like I showed before with the Remnant of Corruption, it has a couple not very interesting outcomes that are not very good. This one guarantees that it only upgrades or transforms no matter what. You only get the good outcomes. Now, you would think that's really good, but unfortunately, it is overwritten by Crystal Resonance. That second line replaces all essences with one on the imprisoned monster, overrides the Scarab of Stability. Therefore, they are mutually exclusive and you can't use them together. I was hoping that you could, but I was really dismayed when I tested it and you are not able to. If you're doing a non-Crystal Resonance farm, if you're going for those, those special high tier essences, then you want to use Stability no matter what. But if you are using Crystal Resonance, then you don't use Stability. So Essence Scarab Adaptation is interesting. It just adds random essence modifiers, not essences themselves, to the essence monsters. It's kind of like looking for a magic find angle in your essence farm, but it doesn't really work with just trying to farm essences themselves. It's kind of like a different strategy. So we're not really going to be talking about the Scarab right now. So based on what I said earlier, what you would assume for a Crystal Resonance farm, not doing the Essence of Stability, you would use 1 Calcification, 1 Ascent, and then 2 Essence Scarabs, right, to fill it out. But that's not quite true. And that's because we have the Scarab of Adversaries. What this says is area contains 4 additional packs with mirrored rare monsters. So this adds 8 rare monsters to your map. And if you're using the Scarab of Calcification, all 8 of those will turn into essence modifiers. So while the Essence Scarab will only give you 2, each Scarab of Adversaries will give you 8 more essence monsters. So with these 2 alone, we get 16 essence monsters in addition to whatever rare monsters we already have on the map. If you are rolling your maps, this is totally optional, but you can go for this line right here for increased number of rare monsters. This will stack with the calcification to give you even more rare monsters on your map, but you can just run your maps regular elk and go if you want to. Don't really have to roll for anything. And then on your map device, you use essence right here, and that's it. So you're going to go through your map, you're going to kill every single essence monster along the way, and then you're going to get to a map boss, and he's going to be really hard. And then hopefully he drops something really good, and you can also farm yellow maps if you want to. After farming 20 maps, you'll have an entire full tab. This was 20 maps for me a couple days ago, and you'll have an entire full tab that you either have to use something like Wealthy Exile or PoE Exchange to bulk sell, or you can fill up a tab and do something along these lines where you say, 1 out of 9 divines. So this says I get 9 per divine like this. So you can list them like that if you want to bulk sell there. If you want to sell like that, instead of doing bulk sale on a third-party website, you can do that. And that's usually how I sell my essences. All right, and I'm just going to show you a map real quick with this. Like I said, do yellow maps if your build's not very strong. But if you have a very strong build, if you want T17 maps to drop or anything like that, you can do that. All right, so let's just show you guys the map real quick. Let me double check that I have something good. And then, like I said, you can layer other things on it, like strong boxes. You can do Nico, you can do Elva, anything like that. But I'm just going to do the essences right here. So this is going to be a very straightforward strategy. We're just going to go and kill every single essence monster. And you'll notice when we get to the map boss, it will be very, very hard. Even with my very strong... So you saw right there, there's 2 of them. That is the mirrored rares right there from that Scarab. And the fun thing about the strategy is you will just have so much fun loot dropping. It's just, the most fun in the game is just killing monsters and getting loot. And I think a lot of strategies have so many other layers to them that are just really annoying. And, I gotta you don't have to bulk sell like I just showed you guys in the tab. All you do is you click on monster and then you fight it. Anyway, you get the idea. You can see how many that I have on my map right here. Let me clear out this map. I'll get to the map boss and I'll show you just how crazy it gets. So you can see how many essences I got clearing this map. I might even missed a couple. But yeah, there's a ton, and he is going to be very, very hard. We'll see if my build can even do it. My build is very, very tanky. This is a T17 farmer. So like I said, if you have a really, really strong build, you can do this. Otherwise, I do recommend running yellow maps, etc. This is not really recommended, but it's an example of what you can do if you have a very, very strong build. And then it's just really, really satisfying when the map boss dies, how much loot actually pops out. There you go. So you get, let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 deafening essences from the boss. And each deafening essence on the market right now, you could probably normalize to about 3 chaos or so. So getting about 40 chaos on average, every single map that you run, just from the map boss, not counting anything else that already dropped, is just really, really nice to just guarantee that you're getting great returns. And the investment is not that big. The Scarabs that I put in are not very expensive whatsoever. These ones are all 1 chaos, and then the calcification is currently 18 chaos per. considering that the map boss alone is giving me about 40 chaos worth of loot, not counting all of the rest of the stuff that I killed. It is very, very much worth it. And that's my overview of essences. I just wanted to make a nice little video that I could upload and point to whenever someone in chat is asking me how to farm essences. I had a lot of fun doing this strategy on stream a couple days ago. Like I said, this was just 20 maps. Wealthy Exile said this was worth about 15 divines. And when we cut out the investment, that was about 9 to 10 divines of profit in 20 maps. And just that layered with any other strategy, very satisfying and very fun. And my plan is to show off other farming strategies as well. So more videos are coming. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully all the information that you need to have a good farm is here, and I will try to keep this up to date. If any new information comes out, I'm going to be making new videos. And yeah, my goal here is to have a repository of just real quick videos that you can watch. But I think this farm is just really satisfying and fun. And yeah, as long as you don't mind selling the essences and realizing those gains. It's an old, reliable farm. Obviously, the price as the league happens can go up or down. However, even if you're an SSF, this is a very valuable thing to know how to do. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Huge thank you to the Patreons. This idea actually came from a patron that sent me a message in Discord chat. This was definitely made possible, especially by you guys, and I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.